All right, the stage is set and the spotlight shining on the Detroit Pistons, your top overall pick in the 2021 NBA Draft. They're obviously the biggest winner in this situation. The Orlando Magic, losers in a sense, as they had designs of that top overall pick as well, a 14% chance to acquire it, but they slide to 5. They will select at 5 and 8, that 8th overall pick via the Chicago Bulls in the Nikola Vucevic trade. But rounding out the top 4, the Pistons, the Rockets, the Cavs, and the Raptors. All right, now that the picks are set, it's time for your first official NBA mock draft. Avery Johnson, Gary Parrish, Travis Branham, breaking it all down with us. Guys, we got to do a little lottery of our own first. By virtue of minutes played and coached in the NBA, Coach, you get the first overall pick. That belongs to you. Gary, we're giving you second overall, and Travis, plenty of value this year at number 3. But with all that said, Avery Johnson, representing the Detroit Pistons with the first overall pick. You're on the clock.
With the first overall pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Detroit bad boy, used to be Pistons select Cade Cunningham from Oklahoma State University. This is a no-brainer. Cade Cunningham, I think, is the most complete, ready to play immediately on day one draft prospect. 6'8", can shoot it, rebound, great court vision. This kid comes from an athletic family. His dad, Keith, played football at Texas Tech. His brother, Cannon, played for SMU. So he has athletic genes, and I just think his game translates to this new NBA. He's very coachable. I know his coach, and I just think Cade Cunningham is a kid that's going to be a perennial all-star in the NBA for a long time.
Gary Parrish, you're now on the clock. The second overall pick is the Houston Rockets, and they select.
With the second pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga University. The Rockets obviously had their sights set on the number 1 pick. They fall to number 2, but they still get an incredible prospect in Suggs, who I do think is the only prospect in this draft that could even be considered to maybe, just maybe, be selected in front of Cade Cunningham. Although, to be clear, I too would take Cade Cunningham number 1. Suggs was terrific in his 1 year at Gonzaga, led them to the national title game. They finished with just 1 loss on the entire season. He knew how to blend in with his experienced teammates. He knew how to take over when it was time to take over. His shot is not as reliable at this point as you would like it to be, but if he does develop a reliable jumper, there's no reason to think that he can't. Everything else is there for stardom. He's a terrific athlete, a two-sport star who was fantastic as a high school football and basketball player, went to Gonzaga, so he would solely focus on basketball, and this is his reward. He will be a top 5 pick, and I think should be the second guy off the board.
All right, so it's Suggs at number 2. The third overall pick belongs to the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's the highest pick that they'll make since 2014 when they took Andrew Wiggins first overall. Travis, Cleveland's got some work to do when it begins at number 3. Who's moving there?
With the third pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers will select Evan Mobley out of USC. If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers at this spot, I'm ecstatic having Evan Mobley fall to number 3. In any other class, to me, he's more than likely going to be the number 1 prospect. And in this draft class, he also has a strong case for that number 1 pick. He's a 7-footer with tremendous length. He's a tremendous athlete as well. He runs the floor with ease. He's quick off his feet. He can score in the post, and he has a budding offensive skill set. He can put the ball on the ground, face up. He's also a really good passer for a big man. Just tremendous two-way upside, and that's just a heck of a win for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
All right, with the 4th pick, Toronto, the Raptors move up. Avery Johnson making the selection for We the North. Who do you have?
With the 4th pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Jalen Green from the G League Ignite. Jalen Green, consensus All-American in high school, McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand game, Nike Hoop Summit. Unfortunately, it all got canceled due to COVID. But this kid is a scoring machine. needs to gain a little bit more weight, 6'6", 180 pounds. But this kid is going to fit well in Nick Nurse's ball movement, player movement game. Nick Nurse plays a lot of zone defenses, so for a young player, he'll be able to hide him a little bit on defense until he learned a little bit more of the NBA defensive concepts. But very talented player, could very well be a future NBA scoring champion in his 5th, 6th, or 7th year in the NBA if he can stay healthy.
All right, we're starting to get to that assigned talent drop-off line, but selecting 5th overall, the Orlando Magic, who had designs of the top overall pick. But Gary Parrish at number 5, they go where?
With the 5th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Jonathan Kaminga from the G League Ignite. I do think there's a drop-off between 4 and 5 in this draft, but like Travis pointed out earlier in the night, it's not that significant. Kaminga is still a terrific prospect. 6'8", 7'2" wingspan. He's your classic switchable wing, can guard multiple positions. It plays incredibly hard. Has no real red flags. Great work ethic by all accounts. The only issue is on the offensive end. He did not shoot well from 3 for the G League Ignite. He did not shoot well from the free throw line for the G League Ignite. And so there is at least a possibility that he could be this incredible, playmaking wing, who can guard multiple positions and be explosive in transition, but can never reliably knock down a shot. And that's obviously a big problem in the modern NBA. But it is worth noting he's only 18 years old. He won't turn 19 until October. So there's a lot of room to grow. And if he does develop a jump shot, just something that can make opponents respect him out to the line, then a lot of the God-given stuff is in place. He looks and moves the way you want a modern basketball player to look and move. And that's why I think in a draft that is deep and filled with players who are going to be impactful throughout the lottery, Kaminga should be the 5th player off the board.
From their front offices to yours, that's Gary Parrish, Travis Branham, and the coach, Avery Johnson, breaking it all down. Thank you, gentlemen.
Here you go, mock draft, Gary Parrish style, pick 6 through 14. Scotty Barnes, 1 and done, Florida State, would be at 6 to OKC. Moses Moody at 8 to Orlando. He's a 1 and done from Arkansas. And in between those two, the opposite of that, Davion Mitchell, a long college career, which ended with a national championship at Baylor this past season. He would go at 7 out to the Bay. All right, let's get him in. Gary, your 6 through 14, what's your big takeaway from 6 through 14?
Well, I do think that there's a drop-off between maybe 4 and 5, but definitely 5 at 6, at least on paper, among the prospects as they have been evaluated to this date. So really, if you were an NBA franchise that had an opportunity to jump into the top 4 or 5, you're disappointed if you didn't. But still, if you're sitting there at 6, you can get a prospect like Scotty Barnes, who has a lot of upside as a versatile combo forward. Davion Mitchell is available. This is a tenacious on-ball defender who shot it really well from three-point range, and his final season at Baylor was among the biggest reasons that the Bears were able to win their first national championship in school history. So you're not going to get a prospect that is at the level of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley, outside of the top 4 or 5. That goes without saying, but there are still interesting prospects to be had, and ultimately, and this is the case with most drafts, somebody selected, outside of where we think that top tier is going to develop into an all-star level player.
All right, well, that's the back end of the lottery, that's 6 through 14. Who's your favorite non-lottery player in your mock draft that didn't get selected in the top 14, and why?
I think it's Chris Duarte out of Oregon. He's a guard who just really knows how to play, shoots it well from the perimeter. He can bounce it. He can pass it. He's a plug-and-play guy. He is ready to contribute to any team, bad team or a contender, as a rookie on opening night. The reason he probably, and I'm not ruling out that he could go in the lottery, but the reason most people don't have him projected as a lottery pick right now is because he's going to be a 24-year-old rookie. There are 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds that will be selected in the first round of this draft. So some front offices are going to be hesitant about spending a pick that high on somebody who is going to be 24 years old in his rookie season. But I've long believed that is something that is highlighted too much when it comes to evaluating prospects. Sure, I understand that an 18-year-old or 19-year-old theoretically has more room to grow than a 24-year-old. But I promise you this, if you draft Chris Duarte and he is able to help you in year one and develops into a rock-solid rotation player, you'll never regret it. You'll never look back on it. If he becomes what I think he's going to become, and he basically is already that, at this point, you will not regret spending a top 20 pick on a 24-year-old. You'll look back on it as a wise decision.
There he is, Gary Parrish. Excellent job. Thank you very much. That is a very good turnaround, quick turnaround on that mock. But here is your draft order 2021 style. It's official. That is your lottery. And at number 1, the Detroit Pistons. They'll pick number 1 overall. They'll be on the clock for the first time since 1970 when they took Bob Lanier. And Bob Lanier ends up in the Hall of Fame. He's inducted in 1992. So they can only hope whoever they select, and we're thinking it's going to be Cade Cunningham, ends up with those kind of credentials when he hangs them up.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.